Hi, everybody. Whoa, what a surprise. And we're here for a surprise live stream, or I am. It remains to be seen if you are. And it's another afternoon, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Whoa, what a surprise. Hello, everybody. Hello so far. We have James, Henry, and Eddie. Yep, what's going on, everybody? Okay. Thank you, Max. I appreciate that. Okay. What's Helen Wheels? What are my thoughts on the Helen Wheels song by Wings being on the American Band on the Run? I love it on the American Band on the Run. I grew up with the American version. To me, it fits on the album. It makes sense on the album. I know Paul didn't want it, so he wanted it as a single. Didn't want it on the UK, but I think it's very good on the album. So I like Band on the Run on there. Arizona Mick, what's going on? Do I have a favorite rant video of mine? Yeah, I know I do. Which ones though? There's one I did. It's not really a rant video. It's called The Monkeys Save the Summer. It's many years ago now. I think it was 2016 I made that. That's one of them. And I'm sure there are other ones as well, but that's the first one that comes to mind. Liam, hello. When will we get the red and blue 2023 mixes announcement? Your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea. We're all waiting. We thought we were going to get it a couple of weeks ago. Didn't happen. And yeah, so we were all just waiting. Nobody knows for sure. Let me fix this mic. You know? Yeah. Hello, Nicholas. Yes. Henry likes the rant videos where I criticize John Lennon not being played enough on a Beatles station. Yeah. I don't know if I put that as a rant video. It's kind of a rant, but did I put it as an official rant video? I don't know, but I guess it is, though. Really. Wink wants to know, do I think they'll make the announcement on Friday, September 1st? I really don't know. I'd just be guessing. I really don't know. I have no inkling. I haven't heard anything from the inside, so to speak. But I know we're all waiting for this, and we don't know exactly what it's going to be. The red and the blue, is it going to be something else? Is it going to be, well, Rubber Soul, we don't think we're getting this year, but you never know. Is there going to be any solo albums coming out? Solo deluxe sets? The Paul McCartney archives? Hello, Gregory Gardner. Johnny Angel said he heard the new Ringo again, the new Ringo song, liked it better than the first time. Okay, I'll let you know if it grows on me any. It hasn't so far, really. As I say, it's not a bad song or an awful song. It's just so routine for me. A lot of people really did like it, though, quite a bit. So not everybody thinks it's ordinary. Some people really enjoyed it a lot. Beetle Eddie's talking about a video talking about live concerts where bands use backing tracks in their concerts. Do you think Paul does that? Or is it totally live? I think Paul is totally live. I mean, maybe very little not, if anything, but to the best of my knowledge, it's live. I got the allergies kicking in again today. It's tough doing live streams when your throat is filled with like allergy stuff, nasal drip, and all that. But it is what it is. Hello, Tanner. Yeah, that was the Monkeys video. Yeah, it's an old one now. Wow, 2016, 7 years ago. Yeah, it was about the Monkeys Good Times album. Really, it wasn't. I didn't make it as a rant video, but subsequently, I wound up putting it in the rant category with the rant videos. Hello to Conga Man. Hello, Jack. Long time no see. Yes, indeed. I noticed you've been putting up some videos about interesting records as always, Jack. Dockman agrees with me on Pet Sounds. Well, you and me and maybe a handful of people are in a corner. Today, I saw a copy of Pet Sounds on Reprise. It was a Reprise version instead of it being on Capitol. And you might know the cover. It's the same cover as the regular Sounds with the green that usually it has. Usually, this had like a tan or a light brown color with the same photo of the animals and the Beach Boys. And I was told it was from 1972, repress on Reprise. I didn't know about that. Let's see. Hello, David. Hello, and Dial D for Dom. How you doing? Do you think Phil Spector ruined Let It Be? For me personally, I thought he fixed Let It Be. I'm a fan of Phil Spector's work most of the time, not all the time. I don't like him. His personality had left a lot to be desired, but I like what he did with Let It Be. I mean, those tracks really needed work, and I like the Long and Winding Road with the strings, and I like Across the Universe. The way it's done there. So I have no problem. Christian says Ringo's new song just sounds the same as his other EPs. That's what I think. Yeah. So, James Gracia, how was the Fab Four show? They're very good. The Fab Four are very good. I like the way they perform. I just was a little disappointed because I just felt I don't know. They did a lot of the more popular songs. I mean, which Beatles songs are not popular, right? But they did too many of the hits. I thought I wanted some deeper cuts. They did. I should have known better really well, which was a deeper cut. So what did I think of Dolly Parton's version of "Let It Be" with Paul and Ringo? Well, I did a video on that as well. I loved it. If I thought it sucked, I would tell you. I thought it was just a masterful piece of recording and playing. I thought Ringo was great on the drums. I thought Paul sounded good in the harmonies. Dolly Parton sounded good. And the main thing that worked for me is that I got very emotional. When you get emotional over a song, that's a good sign. I mean, I love the original Let It Be by the Beatles, and it's one of my favorite Beatles songs. It's one of the ones I never get tired of, meaning, although I get tired of a lot of Beatles songs if they come on the radio all the time, the same songs, if Let It Be comes on a radio, I leave it on. And I find it very uplifting and emotional, the song. And it was even just as emotional, I think, because with the Dolly Parton version, there's two reasons why I got emotional. First of all, the song is emotional to begin with, but I think I was also really moved by the fact that you had all these legends on the song together, and also you had uh, also Mick Fleetwood on percussion and Peter Frampton on guitar, played great on guitar. I forgot to mention him in my video. Adam Lewis, hello Adam. Lila says I'm getting like a pop-up shop. Hello to Woodland Goblin. In the song "And Your Bird Can Sing," I heard it was about Sinatra, sort of a put down to him, since he didn't like the Beatles. I never heard that before. It could be. I don't know. I don't know. You know the meaning of the title "Let It Be." Is that a saying that says just leave it? I think so. I wish I could have let it be a lot of times. Do I think now and then will make me emotional? Well, it remains to be seen. So far, anytime I've heard now and then on YouTube, I don't like it, you know? So I'm waiting to see what I think when I hear it, if it is better than the ones I've heard. I'm reserving opinion till I hear it. Top five favorite drummers: Ringo Starr, John Bonham. I like very much Clem Burke from Blondie. Those are the ones that come to mind right away that I like. Five drummers. I don't know. I'd have to think. Maybe Charlie Watts, but those the other three. Hi, Ralph Gomez. Do I listen to the Beatles satellite station? And do you know if they give latest news? Yeah, they do give you. They do give you news, I believe. Yeah, on the Beatles Sirius satellite channel. I don't have it. I don't listen to it. I used to have it. I just I got tired of it, honestly. I know it's sacrilege, but yeah. So Woodland Goblin says it's true that Paul shines on the Beatles songs where he plays the drums. Definitely outdoes Ringo in some ways. I don't agree with you at all on that. Paul is a capable drummer, but he's nowhere near as good as Ringo, as far as I'm concerned. Although I think where Paul's drums kind of impressed me the most was probably on the Band on the Run album, you know? And I see we got Kit O'Toole in the house. Hello, Kit. One of these days we got to go into one of those restaurants off the water and have some seafood. I know you like that too. So, who would you say is the female Beatles? I always say the Supremes, Diana Ross and the Supremes, but that's because mainly because of how many songs I love by them and how many hit singles they have. They don't go around writing all their songs or like that, like the Beatles did, right? But I always say the Supremes are the female Beatles, closest to it for me. Stuart Copeland from is one of Kit's favorite drummers. What made me choose Mean Mr. Mayo as my channel name? Because I was looking for a Beatles song or solo Beatles song to parody off. And I thought of every kind of one, Father Mackenzie, Nowhere Man, Dr. Robert, and a lot of them were taken. And then finally I thought, what about Mean Mr. Mustard? I'll just change mustard to mayonnaise because I kind of like mayo. And then it's my name, the name Joe Mayo doesn't hurt. All right, Rob Delker, what's going on? You think "Hey Jude" sounds real close to the original from the David Frost show? I don't know the whole deal with that. Is that the Are they playing the actual "Hey Jude" on that? Only Paul is singing a new vocal to it. I think there's a vocal over the record. Oh, Keith Moon. I forgot about Keith Moon. My God. Yeah, put Keith Moon in there as one of the best drummers. Jeez, of course. Who's my favorite record producer? I can't answer that because nobody stands out to George Martin. Of course, George Martin. But other than George Martin, because of the Beatles connection, I don't really think of the producer really that much. I'm sorry. Okay, Kit confirms that the Hey Jude appearance and David Frost is singing vocals over the pre-recorded Hey Jude track. Hello to George. Music for all four seasons. Which twist and shout do I prefer? The Beatles or the Isley Brothers one? I prefer the Beatles by a good margin. The Beatles made that song their own. It rocks way more than the Isley Brothers version, but I do like the Isley Brothers version. I think the Beatles almost always either equal or better the original. I can't say that about every cover artist, but the Beatles, most of the time, they either equaled or bettered, in my opinion, their cover versions. They made it equal to the original, or better. No, this is the sorry, you can't really see it. It's a ski lodge shirt. I wear this quite a bit. The ski lodge shirt. But the way I'm sitting, you can't really see it. Sometimes you wear a shirt and it doesn't show up on the camera, so you're wasting your time with that. So that's unfortunate when that happens. What is the equivalent LP vinyl to the Horzu Stereo Magical Mystery Tour? I don't think there is one. I don't know. I don't know what you're really asking, but I know the Magical Mystery Tour Horzu German pressing is considered the best stereo version. With stereo. Which I want to be your man. Do I prefer Ringo? Of course, the Beatles version. I like the Stones version too. I don't dislike the Stones version. Top five guitarists: Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, um, maybe Mike Campbell. Maybe actually, believe it or not. Jeff Beck. I'm trying to think like the ones I really like. Notice I didn't say George Harrison, but you know I'll put him in there because he's a Beatle in his case. I mean, I guess I like the Beatles sound, so obviously I must like George. I just don't think he's a very flashy guitar or very well. Same thing with Ringo. He's not a flashy drummer, but we love him for what he does, Ringo. So you could say the same thing about George, I guess. Oh, I'll also say back to the producer question. I actually like Jeff Lynne as a producer. I know it's really not popular to say that. A lot of people hate uh, Jeff Lynne's production, but I actually think he did a lot of good job. Well, because he saved, I like the ELO sound of the ELO, and I definitely like what he did in saving George Harrison's career with Cloud Nine. The songs were there. I mean, the music is there to begin with. More shirt, less ceiling. Well, sorry about that. Maybe a year from now. Hopefully, a year from now, I'll show you more shirt if you get my meaning. I forgot about Jimmy Page. See what I mean? Forget it. Jimmy Page. I like Jimmy Page also. I like Lindsey Buckingham also. I can't do those here when I'm too busy thinking of a lot of questions. I miss somebody. You know that is funny though. It is funny. Woodland Goblin says George Harrison was not a great guitarist, and to which Henry says, "Oh, Woodland, but Paul is great at everything, right?" And that's the kind of thing, I notice about some people. They can criticize somebody, but Okay. Um, John really rocks on the three Larry Williams covers: "Bad Boy," "Dizzy Miss Lizzie," and "Slow Down." I agree. Why do so many people think John Lennon sucked as a guitarist? I don't know. I don't think John was extraordinary, but he was a good uh, rhythm guitarist who played with feeling, and I mean a lot of feeling and soul. But I don't know. Yes, I own Fleetwood Mac albums, but I prefer the period with Buckingham and Nicks joining. Yeah, Lila, the Amoeba album, Live in the Amoeba Store, is really good. I agree. Have I heard My Sweet Lord on YouTube with the AI Beatles mix? No, I have not. I stay away from a lot of that AI stuff. That, having said that, I mean, in the beginning, when, a couple of months ago, whenever it was, that the AI was first starting to really come around and people were talking about it, I did hear some stuff, but I'm not a fan of that. Is that flea market that I go to every Sunday? Yeah, it's every Sunday, unless it's raining. For a while. I don't know when it starts. I think it starts in April and it goes to I don't know when it goes to actually. When I think of it, I don't know if it goes to December or November or something. I usually don't go except for the summertime. Can I imagine having Paul guest on my channel or Ringo? Absolutely. Paul, Ringo, let's go. I'll ask you questions people haven't asked you before, and I won't embarrass you. Who would I say is the best guitarist? Well, you mean best or favorite, personal favorite? To me, I'm going with Eric Clapton. Kid is talking about skunk weed. Yeah, that's the name they affectionately call pot. Skunk weed. Yeah, that stuff's it's legal, so it's all over the place. I told you, I think a lot of things are upside down about today, and that's just me. But I had a copy of the Beatles Butcher album, but I sold it, and I don't have another one. One day I'm going to get one, but I'm waiting for just the right condition. I want it to be really nice. Would I be nervous if Paul was on my channel? I think I'd be naturally a little nervous, sure, but I'd get over it. I think we'd have a good rapport. EKR is still waiting for a new John Lennon half speed mastered release. The last one was Plastic Ono Band. Yeah, let's hope we get an announcement soon. Let's hope we get a release before the New Year's Eve. Are there fakes of the second state butcher out? Not that I know of, but nothing surprises me anymore, though. There's so many fakes of so many things. Nothing would surprise me. If I found an unpeeled butcher cover, would I have it peeled? Never, never. I think the second state unpeeled butchers are becoming more rare than the ones that are peeled because everybody wants to peel them. And I like the idea of looking over at the right side of the white cover and seeing Ringo's dark black vest shining through. It's kind of a little thrill for a collector, knowing that there's buried treasure under there. See, you can just if you squint, you can see it. I like that a lot better. And yeah, so I would never peel one or have it. I would never have it professionally peeled either. I have not been to Abbey Road. I'd like to go someday. I've never been to England at all. I'd like to go someday. Yeah, Lila, I wasn't sure what you were asking about when you said seeing someone live should sound like the CD, but if they take liberties with a song live, it can be ruined. Yeah, I agree. I always like the studio best. In fact, I was at my record store for a short while today, and somebody actually put on Wings Over America. Sacrilege. I don't like Wings Over America. Oh, I always prefer the studio versions best, 99% of the time. I know a lot of people say, oh, no, 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 Wings Over America is very good. As a matter of fact, some of the songs on Wings Over America sound better than the actual albums of the songs, like Letting Go and I don't know. Sometimes they say rock show sounds better. No, no, not for me. There are times, but very rare. I'm not going to get into top five vocalists, especially if I got to think about it, because the questions are flashing by here. So sorry, I can't take the time. I really would want to. I want to put a lot of time into that to give the proper five. I don't want to just come with the first five that pop into my head. I want to really put the five that I really believe. What's rarer? I've heard that the stereo butcher cover was more rare. I don't know about for sure, but that's what I've heard. Dave Pounds, hey Dave, he always gets very interesting. He says you have the patience of an angel for answering some of the questions you get asked. I know a lot of people don't know the Beatles that well, but some of these questions, well, you have to do that. You have to take that. You understand? You don't want to turn people off, you know. And I also sometimes get asked the same questions a million times, but that's like, you know, the Beatles being asked the same questions. How did you write yesterday or whatever? I'm not comparing myself to the Beatles, but I just mean I know on a very teensy weensy, like one quarter of a human hair is worth what it might have been like to be asked the same thing. I don't agree with Eddie. Eddie says maybe I'm amazed is better live than studio. I like the live. Maybe I'm amazed, but I much prefer the studio. I think that's one of the cases where I do like the live version on Wings Over America. Do I like Ringo's Christmas album? Yes, I do like Ringo's Christmas album. It's not amazing or classic, but the fact that it exists at all, the only full Christmas album from the Beatles or a solo Beatle, makes it really important to me. And I play it every year and I have fun with it. We've done some shows on that. I don't know if we did Talk More Talk, but I know I did Fab Gab. Hello to Darren Gamble. Hello, Darren. Tanner, I've never been to Sun Studios either. I don't get out much, do I? I don't go to a lot of places. I don't travel much. I'm not a big traveler. I'm not a big traveling man, you know? So, I do agree with Lila. See, this is a good thing. She says House of Wax on the Amoeba gig by Paul is amazing. And I agree with you. That's a situation where I think the live version is just as good as the studio. House of Wax from Memory Almost Full is just as good on the Amoeba album. So there are exceptions for me. And I always said I like the song Sing the Changes from Electric Arguments. I like that better than the studio. Good evening, Jerome. Am I getting the two new Elvis Christmas reissues in October? Definitely not. I can't collect so many things all the time anymore, and I've got a lot of Elvis already, and I don't need more. They just don't. They can't think of enough ways to repackage Elvis's catalog. Now I know they do that with everybody, including the Beatles, but Elvis seems to be the king also of repackages and re-releases. There was no white shark, great white shark at the pier when I went to the pier. Yeah. I never had the Elvis telephone. Sorry about the noises. Let me I got the mic. What's up? What's up? Least favorite song on Abbey Road. Man, I what did I Her Majesty. Her Majesty because of the length of it. It's hard to say, you know. It might be Maxwell Silverhammer, even though I'm not as against Maxwell Silverhammer as everybody else is, you know. I understand what Paul was going for, but if I'm gonna list the songs in my order of favorites, probably Maxwell Silverhammer would be least. I forget what I picked on Fab Gab. I did a Fab Gab ranking. We gotta do a Fab Gab ranking, you know, that's another thing. I've got some Fab Gab topics and rankings to do in my mind, but I gotta make them happen. Angelo Mysterioso, what's going on? Yeah, seafood restaurant. It's a place called the Nautical Mile on Long Island. I guess it's a mile long against the water. Many, I got a cough. Many different eateries along the water. So I forget what the name of the place was we went to, but there's many of them along there. Mark Boyd asked, "Did I ever play the Abbey Road CD on shuffle?" Yeah, I did. Back when I got my first CD player, I used to play with the shuffle a lot back in the '80s. Fan of King Elvis. Hello, hello. Thank you, Kit, for checking in here. Hello to Harold. Where are the dices? Yeah, you're a good question. No, I got them. Like the dice are behind these two here on the edge. You can see one poking through here on the top of my fingers. A little up red, round black circle. Doing good, fan of King Elvis. What's up? Well, Bob Dylan's album "Christmas in the Heart" has already been on vinyl. I don't know if you know. Uh, oh, I see what you're saying. A vinyl re-release. Yeah. Okay. It's getting a re-release. I like Bob Dylan, but his Christmas album is a joke. I'm sorry. It's pathetic. However, I love sometimes putting it on just for a laugh. It's a complete lark, you know? I mean, I have it. I have it on vinyl and I think a CD. Yeah, CD and vinyl. Uh, I don't know what you're asking me, Woodland. Do I like the steelbook versions of DVDs? No, steelbooks are nice, but I'm not obsessed with getting them, having them all. They're nice, but I don't. Some people really want to buy them all. Is there a reason why the orange signed book, the lyrics, is selling for much more than the Blue Eyes of the Storm? I don't know. The Eyes of the Storm in blue. I have the one that's yellowish. I don't know. It's hard to keep up with some of these things. I don't really know about those. Hello, Kevin, in Richmond, Virginia. Now that Paul is in Mexico and Brazil and all and everything, do you think he'll come to the U.S.? I would have said no 6 months ago, but now I'm not so sure. Now he might. Who knows? Oh, well, I can't answer that for you, Woodland. The Revolver 5 CD Super Deluxe, you need it. You have everything else, but the set is still $98. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. You have to. I can't make that decision for you. For me, I say, of course, somehow save up the money, scrape up the money. If you work, if you have a job, save money till you can get it. But that's up to you, really. It's your situation, you know, not mine. The cough. Hmm. It's fun trying to do this with a cough. 8 days a week. This is a good question. Lila has the 8 days a week documentary movie or living in a material world. Wow. They're they're both lacking, but I'll take 8 days a week. Yes, American Graffiti's playing tonight. Yes, and it's going to be on in less than an hour. I've seen it already. Back on Sunday, I saw it. I was almost going to see it again. I enjoyed seeing it, American Graffiti. Again, one of my favorite movies, so it was great again to see it on a big screen again. You have two versions of the orange book, and people are asking to trade for a blue one. One one asked to trade an orange for his extra blue. Good idea or a bad idea? Good idea. G. Waiting for the Who's Next 50th anniversary. Who's Next is my favorite Who album, but I don't need personally a big set of that for me. Was the 2022 Revolver Stereo remix my least favorite out of all the remixes so far? It's a tie between Revolver and the White Album. Both of them were disappointing. Um, I don't know. I wasn't blown away by Revolver, not at all. And the White Album had a lot of improvements on it. I thought. I mean, a lot of good sounding tracks, but a lot of them were ruined. I didn't like what was done to Helter Skelter, leaving out the bass and having Ringo's "I Got Blisters on My Fingers" subdued. I could go down a list, but the questions are coming. Those are the two. What 10 albums would I take to a desert island? I would need time for that one. I'd have to really think it through. I don't want to just come up with the first 10 albums, that I think of just off the top of my head, because I'm bound to miss some. Am I going to get more Elvis CDs? I don't know at this point. I think I've got enough. But I go with the flow. If next week I become on an Elvis binge kick, then I'll do that. Who's your favorite? What's your favorite? Sorry, what's your favorite McCartney single? Got to be Junior's Farm. Got to be. If John never died, do you think you would have made the effort to meet him at some point? Without a doubt, without a doubt, because I should have done it. Who knew that he was gonna be killed? Nobody knew. But I definitely would have. There's no doubt about it because I went into this after that. If John was still around, I kind of routinely went into the city and met celebrities. So I probably would have done it. I definitely would have done it. Not probably, definitely, without a doubt. Which versions of the Super Deluxe Beatles stuff you mean are the same and which are different? They're all different to a degree. They're all different to a degree. Some less so than others. Some more altered, I think. All right. Are there any more comments coming through? Because the last one I see here is Lila talking about. Oh, now they're coming through. Oops. Whoa. No. The last comment I have is Lila. I don't know if sometimes this happens where you don't see the rest of the comments and it just stops. Or oh no, there's another one. Sorry. Hello, Danny Ambrosi. What's going on? By the way, I'm glad everything's okay with your wife's daughter. I'm glad to hear that. Thanks for sharing with us. How it went. Well, I would have tried to meet George Harrison as well had he been closer to my area. I wouldn't have gone to England. You know, when you say have I been to John's? Excuse me. When you say have I been to John's Memorial Image? Which one are we talking about? I've been to Central Park. That's or Central Park. Yeah, Central Park. Strawberry Fields. That's all. Yes, I've been. This is Apple Core. That's what I'm talking about. Yep, I've been to Strawberry Fields. Made videos about it too. If you want to look it up. Tanner says, I recently bought the Godzilla Criterion Collection. Are you a fan of any of those films? I'm a fan of all of them. I'm a Godzilla fan for sure. It's a really nice set, but man, I've had a hard time finding a place on my shelf. Well, I never got that. I have them all anyway before the Criterion set came out. And me as a diehard fan, there's some things, the Toho company, the Japan company that made the films, they're very picky about how they get released in America. And some of them don't have the best. Some of them have good versions, and some of them don't have good versions. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's still a nice set to have. If anyway, But I was kind of waiting. Okay, let's see. Yeah, King Kong versus Godzilla is a big, big favorite of mine. That's probably my favorite Godzilla movie, and it's my favorite Godzilla suit too. Believe it or not. Well, I'm really kind of like partial to that. Because I mean, as a kid, it was on all the time. Let's see. Do you think if the Beatles wouldn't have stopped touring, they wouldn't have broken up? I don't think so. I don't think that had much to do with it. The fact that they stopped touring, I don't think so. Okay, Mark. Thank you for that little tidbit. Yeah, George was not a big fan of touring. No, not at all. Why did the Beatles choose the rooftop to do a concert in '69 where no one really sees it? Talk to them. Ask them. Ask Paul and Ringo why they did that. Well, that ceiling takes up half the picture, Joe. This ceiling here, well, Woodland, you don't have to watch. If it bothers you that much, don't watch. It is what it is. You get what you get. How many recorded concert of solo George are there? How many concerts? Oh, I don't know the exact amount. There's some Japan stuff. There's some stuff from 1974. There's Bangladesh, uh, at Royal Albert Hall. Beetle Eddie says it's interesting that Ringo was born and grew up in Liverpool, yet the other Beatles didn't meet him until Germany. Did they meet him in Germany? Hmm. Daddy, I'm glad you liked the video by the waterside. I like that. I like that too. Very very atmospheric, inspirational. Never saw West Side Story. Not my thing. Somehow you never knew about Jimmy Nickel until recently. That's interesting. Do I think Zach Starkey would have been good enough for the Beatles? Well, I mean, he's arguably a better drummer than his father. He's playing with the Who, so maybe he'd be a little too technical, too wild. No, I'm never going to get into playing video games. Never, no matter how much you ask me, Woodland. We got a little while before an hour. I'm going to try to be on about an hour if I can. So, hello, Nick CD man. What's going on? What's going on, CD man? No link today. This is a regular chat with me. This isn't one of the hangout free for all ones. Besides, Woodland, I wouldn't want you to bump your head on the ceiling and lose that toupee of yours if you came up. So, "Sunshine of Your Love" is a good song. Yeah, I like it. Better drummer, Ringo or Karen Carpenter? I'll give Ringo as better drummer, but Karen Carpenter is better vocalist. Thank you, Craig Phillips. Let's see. Yes, Michael, the food was quite good that we had by the waterside. Uh, Beatles rock band. My nephews, when they were small, when they were little, they had rock band, and I played. I couldn't play it very well, honestly. John, I don't think I actually own a Beatles' White Album on white vinyl. I don't think so. Have I seen Don lately? I saw him today. Just Jerome. He's been having some medical issues and he's been going to doctors and stuff. And he's still plugging along. How many cigarettes did George smoke a day? I don't know, but even one is too many, as far as I'm concerned. Do I realize that Cream only had 3 or 4 albums? Me? No, I don't know how many albums they had. I could see the covers of the albums in my mind. Lila, I know you come up with Lila comes up with very interesting and different kinds of questions, but this one, if Revolver had been the title of Rubber Soul and the other way around, would it have mattered? That wasn't even worth reading that question. Imagine Don on the Mayo Lounge. Yeah. Well, the thing about George smoking, he must have stopped smoking by the time of the Japanese tour 10 years before he died because I have footage back there I've seen of press conferences with George and Eric Clapton for the Japanese tour, and he's scolding Clapton for smoking. They're looking at Eric Clapton's guitar neck, and you know how Clapton used to put the cigarette in the strings like that, and it's a little burnt on the guitar. And Harrison points out, "You see that guitar?" Says, "It's a little burnt there because this naughty boy still smokes cigarettes." Or something like that. So apparently George could quit by that time. Woodland Goblin, you must have had a few drinks today, because again, not making too much sense. But the thing is about me needing help, and help is on the way from you and all that. First of all, you have to understand, I'm not on StreamYard. In order, I'm not doing StreamYard, so I don't know how to let people up here anyway on this. When I'm doing StreamYard, then I let people come up. This is regular YouTube. I'm doing this through the YouTube system. So yeah, there were a number of Beatles songs without drums. Try Yesterday for starters. No. What's the best Led Zeppelin album? I like Led Zeppelin 2, I like Led Zeppelin 4, and I like In Through the Outdoor. Those are my 3 favorite Zeppelin albums. Do you think that John and Paul just humored Ringo, giving him a song on each album, or was it a democratic decision? Well, I think it was just a nice thing to do. I think they did it because it was just a cool thing and a nice thing to do. Mm. Martin McGrath says, "Did you hear the YouTube video of Paul discussing his override and how the other Beatles paid him to get their shares increased?" I didn't know about this, but I found out recently when I was listening to Two Legs, a Two Leg show, and they're talking about that Paul got actually paid more money than the other Beatles in 1979 and all that kind of thing. So, uh, if you say that, Henry, you better realize I hate to say this because some people think I come on too strong, but Henry, you're sounding like a fool because that quote, "Ringo isn't even the best drummer in the Beatles," was never ever said by John. But now he says, "Oh, I know John didn't actually say that, but it would have been hilarious if he did." Well, you know, it was said by the comedian Jasper Carrot in 1983, and people think John said it. That's annoying. Uh, yeah. Anyway, and John would never say anything like that, really, because he's very highly respectful of Ringo. Who do I class as a hanger-on within the Beatles circle? I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know what you mean. Maybe I'm getting older. I don't know. Well, but definitely I'm getting older. Oh, Magic Alex is a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Magic Alex. See how easy it is? But it's a good one. Hey, man, my stomach just growled. If you heard that. Well, Magic Alex for sure. Someone who shouldn't be there. Or really not. People are going to say Yoko, right? Right? Well, she shouldn't have. I've always said, as much as I defend Yoko, I think it was wrong of John to insist that she be there when they're recording and stuff. But Mark Boyd took that George demo. You'll know what to do, and it made a nice Ringo cut. I always thought that was a very weak, uh, weak song. It was never really finished or anything, but what there is of it is fairly weak, in my opinion. What's for dinner tonight? Half of the sandwich I had earlier today. I had a tuna melt sandwich on pita bread. You had the pita bread, tuna, and then a little American cheese, and it was split in half. I ate half of it for lunch. I'm eating the other half for dinner. I don't know why Paul was not on When We Was Fab. Why should he be on When We Was Fab? I mean, is there any reason he should be? Oh, very good, very good. You got a second state butcher cover. That's a lot of pounds there. I don't for the butcher cover. I don't really know how much that is in American money. What's the rarest Beatles collectible? I don't know. The Beatles, the first Beatles White Album with number one on it. I never thought of Linda being the official Beatles photographer, but I guess she was. You know, during a time for a time period. All right, stay on a little longer, but it's gone over an hour. Very good, Earth. Good to hear that. It's going good. Never been inside the Dakota. No. Tell us why we should watch American Graffiti if we haven't seen it yet. Well, it was up for Best Picture. It's one of the Best Picture contenders in 1973. It's got a great cast. It's got a lot of different story vignettes. Different characters are going through different story arcs in it. It's entertaining. It's a little dramatic in places. It's funny in places. It's got great music, but great music if you like the 50s, early 60s. And it was directed by George Lucas. So Danny says he was 8 when the Beatles landed at JFK. Well, given how loud you are, I don't know. Were you louder than the jet plane and the screams of the girls? I wonder. The way you described it, it sounds like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Henry says. Yeah, don't forget, Fast Times at Ridgemont High came after American Graffiti, you know? I like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, I do, but American Graffiti was much better, and it was up for Best Picture, which, you know, Fast Times was not. How many Beatles vinyls do I think I have? I don't know. Several hundred? I don't think I have 1,000. If you're talking about albums, 12-inch records. Pontiac, what's going on? Oh, Grease. I like American Graffiti way more than Grease too. I'm not a fan of the movie Grease. No, it's not like Greek at all. Greek, Grease. It's not like not like Grease at all. No, no, they don't sing in American Graffiti, right? It's not. It's not it's not a musical. The music comes from the radio. They're listening to the radio, car radio. I'm glad you like Grease. It's not one of my favorites. Never has been. I like the title song, Grease, the Frankie Valli song. I like that, and I probably like that song. You're the one that I want. But other than that, I have no need for Grease, the movie. No Woodland Goblin. I don't know what that is. James Byers. I don't believe that Paul was in the video personally. For when we was Fab. Then there was an interview on Rockline, a call-in radio show, where somebody asked specifically, "Was that Paul?" And what was it? Was it in the Paul? Was yeah? Was it in the was Paul in the walrus thing? And George said, "Here's a clue for you all. The walrus was Paul." George says, but he was joking around, I'm sure. But anyway, yeah. But I see James says, "No, not the walrus." But about halfway through, we see a guy, same hair as Paul, walk past. I'm sure it's him. Well, maybe you're right. I don't like making it sound like I don't know everything. For sure, I don't know everything, and I said that wrong. I don't want it to make it sound like I know everything because I don't know everything. However, I learn things all the time from others about Beatles related stuff for sure. But I think it would have been said by now that it was him. I don't think they ever said that. Would the Beatles had survived now, how they a product of the 50s and 60s? It's kind of a messed up. Would the Beatles had survived now? Are they a product of the 50s and 60s? Um, I don't know. Can't answer that. Okay. All right, folks. It's getting time to stop this surprise live stream. Glad you all had a chance to come on and ask some questions and make some comments, and it's always a lot of fun. I appreciate that. So I'll be doing more of these, as you know, and most likely I'll be doing one Saturday. So just look out for that, and that's it. All right, everybody. So I'm going to shut this down right now, and I thank you all. Cheers.